Imagine discovering your partner's ultimate betrayal and then embarking on a relentless fight to reclaim your life and dignity. Welcome to another profound narrative from our channel. Tonight we delve into a man's struggle after his wife's infidelity, exploring if he can overcome the heartache and choose the path of integrity. Stay with us to hear his journey. After my wife was unfaithful, what were the next steps? Greetings, everyone. I've been a silent observer here for some time, trying to grasp the infidelity that has entered my life. To summarize, my wife and I have been married for 8 years, together a bit longer, and we have 2 young children. This year has been challenging, and we've had disagreements, but nothing I thought would lead my wife to cheat. Anyway, I noticed her becoming distant and uncommunicative lately, so I decided to confront her one evening. At that point, she claimed she was unhappy and felt no passion. Initially, I blamed myself, thinking I was an inattentive husband, which was partly true. However, the following day, I saw a highly affectionate message on her phone. I investigated and discovered my wife had been exchanging intimate messages with another man for an extended period, filled with declarations of love and plans for a shared future. I was absolutely shattered. Following the advice from many discussions online, I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I read extensively, contacted a couple of lawyers for guidance, one is now on retainer, and composed myself. A few days ago, I calmly asked my wife if she was having an affair. After a brief pause, she admitted everything. In short, it had been happening for 6 months, and she asserted it was the most profound emotional bond she'd ever experienced. Utter garbage, but I let it pass. To resolve things, I presented my conditions: no contact with the other man, marriage counseling, and so forth. What felt like the final blow to any real attempt at reconciliation was her extreme irritation about cutting off contact, especially when I insisted she do it in front of me. She even demanded to see him one last time for closure. I stood my ground, telling her if he was so crucial, she should pack a bag and go live with him. She backed down, but not before calling me a domineering jerk. Later that morning, she showed me a text she sent him, but my intuition suggested she would find other ways to communicate. I believed there was no hope, and honestly, I didn't want it at that point. But I wanted to be able to tell my children in 2 decades that I at least made an effort. We had marriage counseling scheduled, but I felt it was time to file for divorce before wasting more time or enduring further pain. I was hesitant to act too quickly because of my kids, but was this the correct course? The original poster later added in the comments, "Wow, this discussion grew rapidly. Thanks for the excellent feedback. The validation has been helpful. My lawyer has prepared the paperwork. They just need to process it, and I'll choose a date for her to be served. You're all correct. This won't end well if I take the passive route. I need to consider my future, my kids, and move ahead." One person responded, "It's truly refreshing to see someone not act like a pushover in this situation. Honestly, good for you for handling this intelligently. It will be tough, but keep that anger burning. Don't let it fade, because you're staying focused. You'll be grateful for this later, and your children will be too, once they're old enough to understand. I'd even consider keeping the evidence private, just in case she ever tries to tell the children a different version, so they can see it themselves. Perhaps that's too extreme. Not a good parenting choice to go to such destructive lengths. Honestly, I believe you'd be doing your children a disservice if you remained with a woman like that. Kids aren't oblivious. They perceive things. If they observe you allowing yourself to be mistreated, they might accept mistreatment in future toxic relationships. If your wife insists on seeing her affair partner one last time, you know with certainty it will never be the final time. Update. The past few weeks were simply dreadful, but they allowed for much introspection and thought. As an update from the prior discussion, my wife and I did attend some counseling after the initial confrontation. I must say this particular counselor was very skilled at listening to both of us without assigning blame, helping us navigate our new reality. She also helped reveal some underlying issues in our relationship. While this doesn't excuse my wife's behavior, it's beneficial for future relationships, helping me avoid similar errors. As also mentioned previously, my wife's initial reaction to my boundary about cutting contact with the affair partner seemed ignored. I did detect brief messages between them before she completely wiped her chat logs and phone. After realizing this, I decided to file for divorce, and she was served a few days ago. Concurrently, I had a frank conversation with my father-in-law, as we are very close, and I needed to prioritize support for our children over our relationship. I could see my wife wanted to brush everything under the rug. Naturally, my wife was extremely upset initially. Her fantasy was shattered. However, her therapist helped her understand my perspective on why this was necessary, and I believe she has begun to grasp the repercussions of her actions and the real losses she faces. From this point forward, I'm simply trying to process the new life ahead and the profound shift in my identity from a husband and father to something different. The same applies to her. I will say, once I filed, my wife was immediately stunned by the news and has been very emotional these past few days. I genuinely believe she thought I would never leave. I've maintained a distance, but I've observed a distinct change in her. On a positive note, we've communicated more, keeping our discussions civil and focused on our shared priorities, primarily the children. I've made it very clear to her that she inflicted a deep wound, and she must do the hard work to heal it and give me space and time if I am ever to consider forgiveness. I will repeat this. Her actions were the most selfish, self-absorbed, terrible thing you could do to another person. Yet, I haven't forgotten that we still need to raise our children, and that remains my central focus as I determine how to proceed to the next stage of my personal happiness. I wanted to thank everyone for their previous comments and insights. I am honestly proud that I found the resolve not to wallow in self-pity, anger, or sadness, and was able to make the right decisions to preserve my dignity and anticipate a positive future. I honestly don't know all the upcoming steps, and my emotions are constantly shifting, but I am beginning to feel a sense of inner peace. Thank you all again. Music. Small update. I am currently in the post-serving phase and working closely with my legal counsel. I'm curious if any betrayed spouses here leveraged the affair fog to secure more favorable divorce terms and how they managed it. My soon-to-be ex-wife is clearly still immersed in the fog, seeing and contacting her partner, which I haven't interfered with at the moment, as it serves as a good diversion. What unexpected agreements did people achieve? Any advice on navigating this period and keeping her off balance is greatly appreciated, beyond gray rocking and the 180 method. I've been going out much more unexpectedly, without revealing details of my activities. Update. Advice on gray rocking during divorce proceedings. Hello everyone. I've posted a few times about my ongoing ordeal, but the short version is, my wife cheated. I caught her. She gave me the, "I love you, but I'm not in love" line, and claimed her affair partner was the greatest emotional connection ever, which was utter garbage. She then twisted everything. I then proceeded to serve her with papers, and here we are, a few weeks later. To make a long story short, I'm now in the post-serving phase and must cohabitate for now, as I want to spend as much time with my children as possible. I've also moved into a separate room, which has helped me start to create that distance. I've implemented the gray rock method with my soon-to-be ex-wife, generally trying not to engage in any discussion, though I have to feign some interest, especially when the kids are around. They're still young but can sense a lot, so I try to be cheerful. I'm also making myself unavailable in the evenings, going out with friends, working out, whatever. Any other advice on how to best manage this situation? It's a delicate balance. I want as much bonding time with my kids and have endured family dinners and such. Any other do's and don'ts? Honestly, it seems like you're making all the right moves, original poster. The best thing you can do right now is focus on your children. As you mentioned earlier, how your children look back and see how you treated their mother during this period will speak volumes about your character. It will serve as a profound lesson on how to treat others who have wronged you. You are an excellent father. Update. I've made several posts before, and for those unfamiliar with the story, it's simply, wife cheated, claimed it was the greatest emotional bond ever, said I love you but not in love, etc. I served her with papers, and now, just over a month and a half after D-Day, I'm working incredibly hard to move forward. The purpose of this post isn't for an update. All I can say is the process is ongoing, and I'll provide an appropriate update at the right time, likely in a while. My only request is for anyone who has gone through this process to please share any valuable advice, lessons learned, things you would have done differently, or important things to know. The advice in previous posts has been incredibly helpful, and those who have reached out in other ways have been amazing. I'm just reaching out in case there's more that can assist. Update. She cheated, but I was made to feel like the bad guy. Hello everyone. My story can be found in my past posts, but to summarize, as always, my wife cheated, found her greatest emotional disturbance ever. I served her with papers, and the process is moving towards finality. I just wanted to hear stories about how people dealt with in-laws, friends, and others making you out to be the villain. I did get ahead by filing and informing some of the in-laws, my family, and a few friends, but I didn't broadcast it too widely as I wanted to keep certain things private. That said, I know my soon-to-be ex-wife likely presented her version, and I'm receiving cold vibes from many of her family members and some other acquaintances. I understand that familial ties are strong, but it hurts when close family turns their backs, despite me being a good dad and my wife being a reprehensible person. Did people eventually see things differently and change their minds? Or did you just stop caring and move on? I believe it's unavoidable for people to take sides in such situations, but those who choose to believe her were never truly loyal to you anyway, were they? You don't need such people. You only need to concentrate on your children and your own legal standing. Ultimately, you know what occurred. You know the truth. That's all that truly matters. Update. Hello, everyone. As of today, some resolution is approaching in my ongoing situation that began over the summer, for which I've been posting and receiving advice here. I want to start by thanking this community for the incredible support and guidance, especially those who messaged privately and offered words of wisdom throughout. This is a terrible process to endure, particularly when close family is distant. It's awful to be alone with your thoughts, but there is wisdom and self-reflection to gain during this time. For those needing a recap, one of the many discussions is linked below, but the summary is, my wife cheated and tried to conceal it. I discovered it, realized there was no hope, as she was deeply entangled with her affair partner, and immediately filed for divorce. Anyway, the past few months have been tense, but relatively free of drama, as my soon-to-be ex and I have separated our lives within the house but still manage things for our children. The discovery and mediation process progressed quite swiftly. We agreed on 50/50 custody for our children, including schedules and holidays. Since it's a no-fault state, asset division followed standard procedures with some negotiation. I won't go into too many details now. Perhaps another post in the future, but I will be finding a new place for a fresh start soon. The final conclusion is on the horizon, but for the most part, the divorce is complete. As for my advice from this entire debacle, I learned several things. 1. Don't bother with the emotional manipulation. I tried for a week before realizing she was cheating. My soon-to-be ex is still in the fog, but that's her choice. She must live with it. 2. Engage an experienced family law attorney who is sensible. I cannot praise enough the person who assisted me. Understanding my desires versus reality was crucial in reaching a conclusion. I haven't incurred any exorbitant fees, as I did much of the preparation myself, avoiding countless hours of back and forth, which allowed for a relatively quick settlement. 3. Lean on friends and family for as much support as possible. 4. Consistent exercise is vital for maintaining mental health. I started weight training a month after D-Day and am beginning to see the benefits, and that increased confidence has been instrumental in reaching the finish line. 5. Seek individual counseling and talk with a professional. This has helped me immensely. 6. I realize this from all the posts I read, but the cheater's decisions are entirely their own. I heard it all from my soon-to-be ex. I was just a roommate. I love you, but I'm not in love. Our marriage went so wrong. I worked too much, and so on. The truth is, now that I know the timeline, our marriage began to unravel after she welcomed someone into her life who flattered her ego and gave her extra attention. She then had to erect barriers and portray me as the villain to justify this in her mind. Certainly, she might have been stressed by children, daily life, and a long-term marriage, but not communicating with her husband and confiding in a habitually unfaithful individual with no moral compass is entirely her responsibility and a recipe for catastrophe. The thrilling final chapter of this man, her supposed soulmate, is yet to be written, but poor choices carry consequences. That is all I will say on the matter. Again, thank you to everyone. I still have much work ahead, but also many adventures in this new chapter of my life. I hope I can reciprocate the favor to anyone who needs it. Please reach out if anyone requires assistance. I am here. Update. Has your ex tried to remain in your life after divorce? I have a question for the group. My post history details the greatest emotional connection love story ever. I'm not far from moving into my own place. As I have 2 children with my soon-to-be ex, and for legal reasons, I have stayed in our marital home during this process. I've posted a few other discussions about the ongoing ordeal, Thankfully, there's light at the end of the tunnel for me soon. Obviously, I must co-parent with my unfaithful ex and will be civil for that purpose. But I've been firm in stating she destroyed our marriage and, by extension, any possibility of friendship. I have no space in my life for a deceptive cheater. However, she has been insistent about wanting to be there for me, promising to help decorate my new house and maintain holiday traditions for the children. Again, I have remained firm, stating she sabotaged our relationship and sought to replace me, so I am simply granting her that wish and have even gone as far as to say she will not be a welcome guest at my house. Has anyone experienced this, where the ex wants to linger? I assume it's a matter of appearances. If we're friends, the separation couldn't have been that bad. So far, the affair partner hasn't shown his face, and she tries to hide it, but I know it's only a matter of time before their greatest emotional connection goes public. I have no desire to ever be in the same room with them, but I will remain at a safe distance with popcorn when their entire situation inevitably implodes. Thanks as always to this excellent group. Some group members had responses. The first one, she's doing it for herself. It would partly alleviate her guilt, at least in her mind. It would suggest that the betrayal and hurt weren't that significant if you still allowed her into your inner circle. Don't let her. The original poster replied, "Yep, I know she's always concerned with managing her image, constantly posting on social media, etc. I've been letting my social media activity dwindle for my mental health, but she is definitely not in my inner circle, nor have I been sharing my thoughts or plans with her." Another individual stated, "She's using it as a control tactic. She's capitalizing on having a new romantic interest secured and ready while you don't. Help you decorate your new house means she's trying to exert control and leave her mark on your new family home. Yet, she would never allow you to help her with her new, greatest of all time, decorate their love nest. Keeping holiday traditions is exactly the same thing, as she gets to establish traditions with you and in her own home before you find someone new. You can be sure she'd try to treat your eventual new partner as an outsider." The next person offered, "It's her only way to save face. If you were her friend, she could say, 'See, we were meant to be just friends. Don't give in. Don't even respond.'" Gray rocked the hell out of her. I would even consider not telling her where you live for the first few months and doing handovers in a neutral location or her place to reinforce that point. Otherwise, be consistent with your message. We are not friends. Let's learn to strictly co-parent. I do not want you in my personal life anymore. Consider forcing the conversation to a co-parenting app if you need to drive the message home. She operates in a dual reality where she fell out of romantic love for you long ago but still cares about you as the father of her kids, and imagines some scenario where you will happily co-parent and share holidays and such. Zero empathy for your feelings. What a twisted game she's playing, trying to find ways to infiltrate your life beyond child-focused communication. It's simply a method to still manipulate you. She doesn't want to be your friend. She wants you to be her puppet. Update. As of today, the official decree has been issued, and I am no longer married. I also picked up the keys to my new house and will begin the moving process as soon as possible. I chose to take a buyout, as I felt it was best to start fresh in my own place to create new memories. I truly got lucky. I found a well-maintained house barely a minute away from my current home, with a huge fenced backyard, a wood fire pit, a big garage, and a prime location. I also back onto a nature preserve, and as an avid outdoorsman and biker, I have a gateway to my own little paradise. Some might ask why so close. Well, I want to be near my children because they need to know their dad is close by when they need me. Thanks to the advice from this community, I kept my focus on what was important, started a workout program, and also plunged headfirst into a new career opportunity that recently yielded significant rewards. I haven't bothered with online dating or seeking a new partner, and will likely enjoy single life for a while. I have my 2 young children to concentrate on, and fully intend to focus on them and my personal development for some time. As for my ex and her affair partner, I've honestly started to let go of that disaster. Whatever happens will happen, and it's no longer my concern. As someone eloquently put it before, when someone gets involved with an individual who cheated on their spouse, they are getting someone who cheated on their spouse. I did my best as a husband and father, and it's time for someone else to appreciate that. Thank you for all the messages, advice, and well wishes. My life has depended so much on this support these past months when I didn't have many close by to turn to. For those at the very beginning of this terrible situation, please keep moving forward day by day and surviving. I'm not an expert in life, but I'm willing to lend an ear to those who need it. Good luck, everyone. Update. I'll have a life update coming soon, as I have some pretty significant, mostly positive, things happening after my official divorce. That said, in my newfound free time, I've unfortunately looked back and seen the life I had envisioned vanish, and I wonder how this could have happened so quickly. I'm sure everyone has spent much time pondering the who, what, where, when, why, but I look back and my former spouse and I had a wonderful life ahead of us. Our careers were thriving after significant initial efforts to establish ourselves paid off. We had a home, two beautiful children who are now out of diapers, and college funds being built, among a multitude of other advantages. Thinking about this is my last hurdle to overcome, but I truly can't comprehend the mindset of someone who had so much going for her, but decided to destroy it all and go all in on an untrustworthy, unfaithful scoundrel. Must I mention this man again to this group? I know I'll likely struggle for a while to heal from all this, but I just reflect on our shared history and lives and wonder how a person could be so selfish and foolish. I understand that desire can't be reasoned with, and all that. But honestly, the whole purpose of being married is to work through things as a team and to continuously fall back in love with each other. Thanks again to this fantastic group for all the insights. I know I'll probably sound repetitive, but these forums have been great for venting this stuff. Honestly, it doesn't truly make sense, and I think we can drive ourselves crazy trying to figure out and comprehend the reasons. That said, I believe one main reason is insecurity. Your ex was just an extremely insecure woman. Update. Hello all. I wanted to give a quick update, especially to those who just experienced their D-Day and are worried about what life might be like. I'm 6 weeks post-decree and moved into my new place a month ago, working like a madman to transform it into my sanctuary. It's finally well furnished and feels like home, my home. My kids have visited many times, and the rotation is working well. I've read many times here that kids are resilient, but until you witness it firsthand, it's unsettling. I'm happy to report they are handling things quite well, and we have our own fun at Dad's house, and they've told me many times they love being over. As for me, it's initially been strange having some newfound freedom, but I've found that making to-do lists and setting daily, weekly, and long-term goals is helping a lot. I was initially sad, but keeping busy keeps that feeling at bay. I'm focused solely on self-improvement at the moment. I considered getting back into dating, but truthfully, I have no interest. So I'm staying focused on home improvement, fitness, and my children. Someone commented on one of my posts that getting out of the house was like being submerged underwater and finally surfacing for air. And they were right. As for the unfaithful ex, I keep interactions cordial, but that's it. No sign of the greatest emotional connection affair partner yet. What the heck? But who cares? I'll just say tonight I sat outside, had a few beers and a cigar, and enjoyed the peace and tranquility of my property, realizing that escaping the situation my ex put me in was the right decision. To those at the beginning and doubting leaving, I get it. The toughest, most heartbreaking experience is a punch to the gut. But deciding to eject a cheater was the only correct choice, and I believe with time, it will only improve. Cheers, everyone. Update. Hello all. Another update from AC 496. Once again, thank you all to the wonderful people for your comments and support. It's now my second month living independently, and my house is coming together quite nicely. My children have been doing very well and creating memories, and I have some enjoyable trips planned in the near future. As per the usual advice, I've intensified my weight training and diet, furnished my home gym with better equipment, and also been hitting the heavy bag very regularly. It must be working. In my monthly therapy sessions, my counselor noticed I was gaining weight in the right places, and she said the mental and physical progress she's seeing is great, so a little affirmation that things are moving in the right direction. I haven't bothered to date. At this point, it's still early, and I'm just enjoying the free time, new projects, and time with friends. So, to the point of the post, and I'm sure everyone keeps wondering, have undesirable outcomes struck dishonorable individuals? Well, I don't have a marvelous post yet to detail the downfall of this man or the ex-wife. However, it's peculiar that their greatest romance ever hasn't been revealed at all, and this man is still a secret. I wanted to ask why this might be. Is my ex-wife simply playing image management and waiting to reveal everything at a more opportune time? But isn't the thrill of the affair gone now that they can't sneak around. I'm no longer in the picture, so I just found it odd. I have a feeling they are still communicating. She makes it obvious by hiding her phone if I'm around during kids' activities. But why? It's like, you wanted this. You snuck around and claimed this was the most amazing thing ever. Why not broadcast that now that the terrible ex-husband is gone? Has this happened to anyone else with their ex and affair partner? One person responded, "Buddy, you probably shouldn't waste time trying to understand what's going on inside a disordered mind. There could be countless reasons, but who knows? And more importantly, who cares?" I think the comment is accurate. Don't waste your time thinking about your ex and her affair partner. What she does no longer concerns you. It's truly none of your business. Stay the course. Update. Hello all. I'm almost at the 6-month mark past divorce and nearly a year past D-Day. It's been cathartic to post, and I know many people have followed my journey, commented, messaged, and offered hope, etc. Like many others, I've posted throughout this journey to offer a ray of light to the unfortunate newcomers here. Despite the darkness you've stepped into, there is another side. I hope I can continue to help in whatever small way I can to anyone in need. I greatly appreciate the support I received and would always love to return the favor. On that note, 6 months past D-Day, and there's a lot of positive news. My house is furnished and feels like a home. My kids are comfortable with the routine and love visiting, and they've made some neighborhood friends. I'm beyond thankful that the little ones manage this process so well. They simply understand there's dad time and mom time, with no complaints or tears. Beyond them being here, I've immersed myself in a ton of home improvements. The house I moved into was previously owned by an older divorced gentleman, and some things were neglected, but I see it as an opportunity to make it my own. Along with that, I've furnished a home gym in my house with everything I need and can say I'm getting my workouts and boxing in 4 times a week, getting my body back to where it needs to be. Through this entire ordeal, I also went through a major internal career change at my workplace and somehow managed not to mess anything up. Instead, I've received commendations. I've kept my situation private, which has allowed for plenty of exposure to advance my career trajectory. Yes, I still struggle daily with mental health and focus, but I manage it with therapy and workouts, and things are getting better. I think less and less of my ex-wife each day, and each small step is a relief. As for her, well, she's still in her fantasy world, but I can only say we co-parent reasonably well. I gray rock the heck out of her. The let's be friends approach is strictly limited to issues concerning the children, and it's been civil. I'm sure anyone who has followed my story has wondered about the saga of this man. All I can say is the world's greatest love story hasn't gone public, but my kids recently made me aware he's been around in a small capacity. I have to laugh a little, as it's now 6 months past D-Day, and they are still sneaking around. All wonderful hallmarks of a long-lasting, trusting relationship guaranteed to endure the test of time. I've come to terms with whatever is going to happen, will happen, and at this point, I am fortunate to be away from a person who is willing to lie to their most trusted partner's face and feel no remorse. I have a solid chance at building an even better life than before. Good riddance and good luck. Anyway, that is all. And yet another big thanks to all those who follow, comment, message, and send rays of hope. I will keep updating and supporting as always. Update. Hi all. I thought I'd share the insights from a great conversation I had with a friend last night over many beers. It's amazing sometimes how the world's problems can be resolved on a Friday night. For context, my friend also divorced 7 years ago, and his circumstances are eerily similar to mine. Even our exes share the same birthday. I've mentioned in previous posts recently, but the grand reveal of this man and my ex is slowly taking shape. I have low contact with my ex, but my kids make comments, and it's hard not to feel hurt. Whatever. Anyway, my friend noticed I was a bit frustrated and said this, and it helped me a lot. Dude, think about their lives. 2 cheaters getting together, and consider what a contemptible, low-value individual he is for manipulating a married woman with kids. Now, look at it this way. They have to make it work, no matter how bad it becomes. You or I can meet women, and if it's not good, we move on. No problem, no worry. They're trapped. He has to be in your old house, knowing you built that, has to deal with your kids, and inherits your selfish ex and in-laws. But they are stuck, or else they look foolish. Can you imagine that kind of misery? But you're free. I reflected on that, and this morning, It truly helped me realize what a dreadful future they have to anticipate. Anyway, I wanted to share this thought and also ask if others came to this conclusion or took similar action. Thank you to you wonderful people, as always. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Trying to play house in a home that an affair partner never built, a home that he helped to destroy. Update. Affair partner is invited to my kid's birthday. Hello all, it's me here. A big thanks to this lovely group as always. I have something to get off my chest. For those who recall my story, I've been progressing well, and I have some significant updates coming soon, as I like to post positive things in my journey to help others in theirs. But for now, I need advice. Background. My daughter's birthday is this coming weekend. I already celebrated last weekend with my family and had a small, modest gathering. My daughter loved her gifts and cake. Well, the ex-wife is having her usual look how amazing I am party this weekend. I did receive an invitation, but I just found out the other day that this man, the affair partner, is confirmed to be there. I confronted my ex-wife, saying this was a rather terrible thing to do, but she didn't reply. Even worse, the ex-wife's co-workers, family, and friends who knew about the affair will be there, and the party is at my old house enemy territory. This is simply dreadful overall, as it's my daughter's party after our divorce, and I can't help but feel it's a setup. This is a lose-lose situation, and after talking with some other supportive members here, it feels like walking into a nest of vipers. The only thing I can think of is going in well-dressed, with a fresh haircut, and showing off my new physique. Hey, I've been putting in the work and staying for a little while, but either way, I just don't like this. I feel this is incredibly manipulative of the ex-wife. She knows exactly how she's playing this and wants me to do something petty. Any advice is appreciated. Edit. Wow, the response has been amazing. You guys are all wonderful. I will try and respond to each and every one when my day calms down. Here's a response from the community. Don't go. You already had your party for your daughter and celebrated with her, and it sounds like she enjoyed it. That's all that matters. Tell your ex-wife you don't associate with people who destroy homes, and you'll separate the parties from now on to avoid complications. Ultimately, it's up to you. You can choose to go and be the person you are today, the person who has grown so much since the whole debacle. You would be showing up as a person your ex-wife can never live up to. It does seem like a very toxic environment to put yourself in, but if you feel you're above it all and it can't affect you, then go. She might not even expect you to come. It might have just been to hurt you in hopes of gaining the upper hand. Anyway, you shouldn't feel obligated to go, and you've already celebrated with your daughter, so I'm sure she'd understand. Final update. Hey everyone, I wanted to thank the massive amount of support I received on my post from earlier this week. Since the beginning of this ordeal, this community has been my lifeline and savior, providing advice to help me through all of this. Thank you all. It truly means the world to me. As for the juicy update, well, this is a good one. So, I initially told the ex-wife that I'd be joining. What I didn't do was tell her I'd changed my mind. I waited until Saturday morning to stop by the house and drop off my daughter's card and present. Unbeknownst to me, the kids were dropped off at Grandma and Grandpa's house for the morning. As I drove up into the driveway in my sports car, I might add, none other than this man's beat-up old car was on the side of the road. I strolled into the backyard quietly with a smile and surprised both the ex-wife and this man as they were putting up decorations. The look of utter terror was on both their faces, and I kid you not, this man didn't look me in the eyes once but was like, "Oh, hey man." Honestly, when I looked at both of them, I didn't feel anger, but just a sense of how sad they both were. Good luck together. Isn't that pathetic? I kept my composure and simply said, I'm here to give my daughter her present, but I won't be joining. The ex-wife was shocked, and I swear in the nicest voice I've ever heard in my life, she darn near pleaded for me to join. I said, thanks, but no thanks. I will go to your parents' place to give my daughter her gift, and parted ways. I did give a hey, see you later, pal, to this man before strolling out, head held high. Not more than 3 minutes later, I received a phone call from the ex-wife again, pleading for me to come to the party, but I held my ground and politely refused. A few minutes later, I dropped off the gift, went into the ex-in-law's house for a few minutes, played with my kids, and said my goodbyes, all very kindly and without mentioning the situation. As for me, I kept myself busy tending to my house. I got a good workout in, much needed after a break, and I went out on a date. Ultimately, it was kind of a bust, but she was nice, and at least it was a distraction. My daughter called me today and thanked me for my gift, but she didn't ask why I wasn't there. So, like everyone said, she was so busy she didn't pay attention. So there it is. I know if I would have gone, I would have set myself back a ton and for nothing. Instead, she told everyone I'd be there. And with me a no-show and this man there, I'm absolutely certain people connected the dots on why. Now I can go about my weekend not feeling mentally exhausted and do some enjoyable things. Thank you again, everyone. Music. Excellent. That was definitely a sign of growth. Original poster. Well done. I think you needed that. Update. Hey everyone. This is going to be a short but rather amusing update to my previous posts. The outpouring of support was incredible. Thank you all for your advice, and I'm still smiling from the unexpected move I pulled last week. I truly had a really good week since then. Anyway, here's your dose of humor. Some background. Since after D-Day, if those who have followed my story recall, my in-laws dropped me like a hot potato. I get it, blood ties are strong. However, I have had one member of my extended family reach out, and we regularly spend time together. He is truly a man of character. Well, I got a text on Saturday during the party. Hey man, let's grab some beers this week. Your presence is missed here. Fast forward to the other day. We meet, start drinking beers, and get down to business. He first starts talking about the awkward, uncomfortable atmosphere the party had, with people clearly looking at their feet because of the situation. Apparently, this man was not introduced to anyone. The ex-wife was deliberately separate from him during the party and was mostly directing him on tasks to do, and the in-laws didn't bother to talk to him, sitting by themselves looking quite annoyed. He was clearly out of his element and actually went inside most of the time, avoiding most everyone. There was also a quiet comment among some of the in-laws, aunts and uncles' side of things, that this party was tasteless. I swear I'm heading toward indifference, but I just laughed heartily. My absence was well understood, and my earlier gift giving to my daughter was also known, so it seems like the family fully understood my absence. Mission accomplished. Anyway, that is my Friday humor for those new to their own bad situation. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of taking the high road, acting with dignity and class, and simply moving toward living the best life. It's not always the most immediately satisfying course of action, but like weight training, the results take time but are worth it. Happy Friday, everyone. You're on the right track, original poster. You've grown and learned so much about yourself during this time, and you're absolutely correct. The best, most honorable thing you can do is move forward and live your best life. Getting over this will take time. Soon you won't even give it a second thought. Wishing you all the best, original poster. This path of integrity you're on will bring you much happiness. What do you make of all this? What would you have done in the original poster's situation? What would you have needed to hear? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time, on our space.